Hello and welcome to English Through Experience. I'm ETU Tutor and this is a quick revision video for Edexcel GCSE English language students doing paper 1 section A. I'm making this collection of videos especially for any students who are resitting in November 2018. There's still not an awful lot of practice papers out there, so hopefully you will find this useful. Right, the text that you can see here on the top of the left hand side is what you'll see on the day of your exam, so hopefully you're familiar with that. And then we've got the reading text over here on the right hand side. Now some people actually study Great Expectations as their 19th century text, so if you do, then that will make it a little bit easier for you and you'll be revising Great Expectations. If you haven't studied it, then this will be what it's like on the day when you're faced with something brand new. So, helpful in a number of ways. Right, let's get going. Now, this time around, I've already highlighted the key parts within the questions. So that's something that you can also do within the exam if you want to. And if you want to see me actually picking them out and talking about the key parts in more detail, then check out the Frankenstein version of this that I've done. Okay, so question 1 we have got from lines 4 to 9, identify the phrase which suggests the narrator now knows the initial impressions he had of his parents were not based on reality. So this is a 1 mark question, so you've got to do it really quite quickly. And you need to know that you're being assessed on AO1. So that's where you have to identify and interpret information and ideas from a text and select the appropriate bit. So all you're doing here is copying out the phrase. You don't need to analyse it, you don't need to talk about any devices or anything like that. All we want to see here is that you know which part of the text achieves what's said in the question focus. So if we have a look over here, we can see line 4 begins with I, and line 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is the one that starts with curly black hair. So you can either pause the video now and read the text as a whole if you want to, or you can just try and do this question like we are now. I'd suggest you read the text. You can see it in the description box below, and you'll also be able to download it from my website, so I'll pop a link to that below as well. Right, because we're at the start, I will read this little section just to give us a little bit of flavour, and then hopefully you'll be able to pull out the phrase that teaches us that this narrator knows that those first ideas that he had of his parents were not based in any type of reality. So you're trying to think to yourself, all right, well, where and how did he work out what his parents were like, and what's the part of the text that shows that? Right, so Great Expectations. My father's family name being Pirrip and my Christian name Philip, my infant tongue could make of both names nothing longer or more explicit than Pip. So I called myself Pip, and I came to be called Pip. I give Pirrip as my father's family name on the authority of his tombstone and my sister, Mrs. Joe Gargery, who married the blacksmith. As I never saw my mother or my father, and never saw any likeness of either of them, for their days were long before the days of photographs, my first fancies regarding what they were like were unreasonably derived from their tombstones. The shape of the letters on my father's gave me an odd idea that he was a square, stout, dark man with curly black hair. From the character and turn of the inscription, also Georgiana, wife of the... Okay, abrupt finish, but there we go, you've got the section. So, are there any parts in there that tell us what the narrator, Pip, knows about his parents? So have a little read, have a little think. I am going to give you the answer here because this is question 1 and it's short. With some of them I might do a separate video, so just be aware of that as you're going through the paper. But this time we're going to discuss the answer. And this is an interesting one because it hinges on one particular word. So there's another little clue for you. So the idea you've got in your mind, can you see how it hinges on a particular word? Okay, maybe not. Right, the answer that I'm looking for here is this phrase here. My first fancies regarding what they were like were unreasonably derived from their tombstones. What do you think the word is that I'm saying is the particular word that we need to focus on? It's this one, unreasonably. He knows they were unreasonable ideas. These first fancies, these initial impressions, were unreasonably derived from their tombstones. Then he goes on to describe the lettering, and then that's how he works out what he thinks each parent is like. So if you copy that section from my first fancies to derive from their tombstone, that'll be your first mark in the bag. Alright then, I hope that's helped. Best of luck with all that revision. If you have any questions or have any other thoughts, just use the comment section below. These exam papers are quite tricky to make. It takes quite a lot of effort. If you imagine for real, in the exam boards they'll have a massive team of people focus grouping the extracts and the possible responses students can make, but this is just me coming up with it on my own, so you might have some other ideas that are really relevant. Alright then, thanks again for watching and best of luck.